Today, John McCain showed America exactly how heroic he is, because he managed to drag his body out of his bedridden, he's been diagnosed with brain cancer, and he did not let a little brain cancer stop him from coming to vote to move the Senate healthcare bill one step closer to destroying the healthcare of 23 million Americans and increasing the cost of healthcare for the elderly, for the sickest, and for the most marginalized and the impoverished communities. And just as I predicted, he came to the Senate floor to a thunderous applause, because we know the main thing that is bipartisan, the only thing that's bipartisan in Congress right now is theatrics and dramatics. And so he came to the floor and he gave a speech that was riveting to some, but then he cast a vote to take away the health care of the very taxpayers who are paying for his current health care, where socialized taxpayer dollar doctors are trying to save his life. But apparently they gave him enough energy to get up off of his bed of affliction. I'm imitating a tweet that I read from Q Got No Rings on Twitter, at Q Got No Rings. He said, I won't let a little cancer stop me from killing poor people. Ben, that's so melodramatic. 500,000 more Americans are going to die over the next decade because of the loss of health care coverage because of this bill. So if you find that melodramatic to say that Americans are going to die because of this bill, then reality, life is melodramatic. But the Senate voted to advance to the floor so that they can debate. They advanced the floor debate, and they are one step closer to passing Obamacare, which is the height of irony, right? This went down to a 50-50 vote, a tie. Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski sided with all the Democrats to oppose this legislation. And Mike Pence came into the rescue and said, I will not let a single poor person be left behind from losing their health care. He broke the tie. Mike Pence, ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States. So the next step is for the debate, the floor debate, to take place. Legislation, they're going to debate amendments, and if they actually give an opportunity for amendments, that remains to be seen. There's no guarantee that they're going to get it to pass at this point, but, too much fanfare. Here we are, one step closer to robbing Americans 23 million more. Yeah, Ben, but Obamacare doesn't cover 28 million. This is a perfect example. That's actually literally an argument somebody threw at me, or constantly throws at me. This is a perfect example of why whataboutisms are not arguments. Because, yes, Obamacare sucks. It is a conservative piece of legislation. It was designed by the Heritage Foundation. It was, what else can we say about it? Mitt Romney actually instituted it in Massachusetts. It is a market-based healthcare system that is a give-out, that inevitably becomes a give-out. Whether they intentionally wanted it to be a corporate give-out to health insurance companies, it is that, because it's channeling billions of dollars of taxpayer money to private healthcare companies, to the entire healthcare industry. So it's a conservative piece of legislation that leaves about 28 million Americans without coverage. But I think those 23 million people who stand to lose their coverage that they do have, such as it is, would argue that this is a good reason for us to oppose Republicans instead of saying, yeah, well, what about Obamacare not being that good? Well, yes, Obamacare is not that good. But you know what's worse than Obamacare? No care. And that's exactly what Republicans are getting us one step closer to being. I think it's vitally important for every single person listening to me right now to call their senator and tell them if they vote or because they voted yes on this, that you are going to oppose them at every single stop. There's nothing that's going to stop you from getting them out of office. And if they vote yes on the actual legislation and steal the health care from the insurance coverage, rather, from 23 million more Americans, then nothing is going to stop you from making sure that they never serve in politics anywhere. They can't even be a damn dog catcher. Everyone needs to pick up their phones and call their senator. Say what I said, but be polite. You know, as polite as you possibly can be, having to beg for your life and beg for your insurance. But I digress. Pick up your phone, call your senator, call your congressman, because your congressmen are still going to have to vote on it. And depending on what version the Senate takes up, but call them and let them know that this is where you draw the line. Send them an email. Send them an email that you don't mind the feds reading. Just want to make sure we put that out there. Send them an email, send them a fax, and get on the phones and let them know that we see what they're doing and we're not going to sit by, and that we are going to extract as many political pain points as possible. We're going to make this as painful as we can politically. We're going to make them have to spend more money than they ever imagined they would have to spend to run for re-election. We're going to make sure that we knock on every door possible to let that neighbor know that their senator voted to take away their health care. We're going to find those likely 23 million people and let them know that you now no longer have health care because of your senator. If you let them know that, then you're going to be able to find at least one more senator to make sure they would join with McCaskill and Mr. the last name of the other Republican, but let them know that we'll find rather that additional senator necessary to keep this bill from passing.